And are we rolling? I think we are. So, who here has seen the YouTube video I did on visiting Kolb? That's good. That means I can move on.
Back so you can see the hands.
I can see. I mean, it works either way for me. Has anybody seen the latest article in the newsletter I had about
Yes.
Okay, well, you'll be seeing some of that again. Who has seen my latest plane-related music video? Hopefully nobody. Okay. Well, I'll probably end up playing it unless I'm shouted down at the very end of this. But this is kind of funny. I feel like Dr. Phil. Have you read my book? Have you seen my tape? Yeah, I'll do the usual disclaimers here. John asked me to do this, and I whipped it together, and I've been kind of fretting a little bit. My elocution isn't what it once was, and I foresee the day when I'll have a stunt presenter in here, and he'll do the presentation I create, and I can sit in the audience and heckle him.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Anyway, as usual, hands and feet inside the coaster at all times, cell phones off. Please don't ask me questions during the presentation, because you'll only distract me and confuse me. And, John wanted me to talk about Kolb and, my Kolb build, but, some of that I've already explored on the, on the YouTube channel and in the newsletter. So I wanted to kind of broaden this out because I wanted to learn something from this presentation too. So I'm going to delve a little bit into the history of Kolb aircraft, starting with the founder, Homer Kolb. Homer Kolb was born on September 15th, 1930 in Spring City, Pennsylvania, the son of Jacob and Clymena Kolb. By the way, that's not Clymena in the photo, it's actually my mom, but I digress. He grew up on the family farm, and as a child he would ride his bike 7 miles to the airport in nearby Pottstown to watch the airplanes. As happens with many of us, it lit a spark within that inspired him to become a legendary innovator in the development of ultralight and experimental aircraft. A neighbor paid for his first airplane flight when he was 14. He earned his pilot's license in his teens and was a charter member of the EAA. He's widely considered to be the father of the ultralight. His goal was to build an airplane that weighed less than the pilot. His son Marcus often said that his father was the first to build an airplane that was lighter than man. I love that line.
That's a good line.
Homer was a committed Christian and practicing Mennonite who served in Germany in the PAX program as a conscientious objector during World War II. He met Clara Moyer in 1954, and I love this. He courted her by buzzing her family's farm in an airplane, momentarily closing the throttle to yell, "Hi, Clara!" out the window, which really irritated her older brother. They married and purchased the farm in 1955 in nearby Phoenixville, just a few miles away from his original family farm. Homer and Clara raised 2 kids, daughter Christine and son Marcus. Homer would farm during the day and drive a UPS truck at night. In his spare time, he designed airplanes. He built his first flying aircraft in the 60s. It resembled a dragonfly, and despite being powered by no less than 4 chainsaw motors, it only weighed 138 pounds. It flew well. He flew it a lot, and it gained a lot of attention in the aviation community. That first design was eventually put on display at the National Air and Space Museum. I looked really hard to try to find a photo of that, of the airplane or the design. I was unsuccessful. His first commercially successful aircraft design was the Kolb Flyer, which flew in 1970. It was another unique design powered by 2 chainsaw engines. It proved to be ahead of its time, and Homer waited until 1980 before launching the Kolb Aircraft Company, selling kits and plans during the boom in the ultralight aircraft industry. The business started in his barn and eventually grew to be an industry leader. As the company grew, Homer continued to develop new designs. This is the Ultrastar, first flown in 1982. This is the Firestar, first flown in 1985. This is the Firefly, first flown in 1995. In 1994, Homer sold the company to his employees and retired to work on restoring antique tractors, actually. But he remained connected to the EAA and the ultralight industry he helped create. In 1985, he received the Charles Lindbergh Award for Grand Champion Ultralight. He was inducted into the EAA Ultralight Hall of Fame in 1999 and received the Dr. August Respite Award for outstanding contributions to the advancement of the design of light aircraft. He continued to attend AirVenture, attending forums as both a student and a presenter. He once told a reporter, "I used to be the guy sitting under those tents. Then I was the guy giving the talks." Homer passed away on July 12, 2009. Clara told a friend that God must have had something that needed repairing, so he called Homer. Whether it's an airplane, a tractor, or a model train, I bet that Homer has it running perfectly and looking brand new. Homer and Clara were reunited when Clara passed on April 12, 2018. By all accounts, they were two wonderful people that I wish I had gotten the chance to meet. In 1999, the company was sold to a group of investors. It was renamed the New Kolb Aircraft Company and relocated to London, Kentucky. They continued to develop new designs in addition to the Firestar and Firefly. This is the Mark III, their first two-seat side-by-side design. It was also marketed as the Twin Star and Mark III Classic. The Mark III Extra had a larger engine, and the overall design was improved by aerodynamicist Barnaby Wainfan in 1999. The Slingshot was designed to be a two-seat tandem speedster with clipped wings and a 100-mile-an-hour top speed. The design was discontinued in 2014, which I think is a shame. That sounds like a pretty cool airplane. The Firestar 2 was introduced in 2000. It was a tandem seat version of the original Firestar. There were 4 variants of this design. There was the Firestar 2, the Tandem, and the Firestar 2 SS, which featured side-by-side seating, which seems kind of weird to me. That just makes it a Mark III. The Firestar 2 is the only variant still in production. You may recognize this photo from my newsletter article. The pilot is Ben Carey's, photo by his brother Dan. The Kolb Cobra was designed to be a tandem trainer. The Cobra was followed by a variant called the King Cobra, I love those names, that had a bigger engine, a redesigned nose, and improved ergonomics. According to Wikipedia, only 2 were built of each variant. And oddly enough, this particular Cobra is currently for sale on the Kolb website. Man, do I want this aircraft. It has the layout and instrumentation I want to use, right down to the GRT EFIS, and a far better engine than I didn't think I could afford. It's running a Rotax. Does anyone here have $40,000 they'd like to lend me? I can make monthly payments for the rest of my life. I promise you. And here's an oddity. In 2001, the new Kolb Aircraft Company also introduced the Kolb Flyer powered parachute. that was available as a ready-to-fly aircraft. Very little is known about this aircraft and no actual photos are available. That's why I used a stock photo. But at least one was registered as an experimental aircraft in 2015. 3 production aircraft bore the same Flyer moniker. The original Kolb Flyer, the Flyer Powered Parachute, and the Flyer Supersport, which you'll see coming up here. 2003, new Kolb aircraft introduced the Canadian-designed Ultravia Pelican Sport 600 into the U.S. market in partnership with Ultravia Aero from Canada and Brazil's Flyer Industria Aeronautica. Ultravia went out of business in 2006, and Kolb purchased Ultravia's assets, including the Pelican design. The company then improved and developed the Pelican into the Kolb Flyer Supersport. But then in 2007, Kolb sold the rights to produce the Pelican line to Ballard Sport Aircraft in Sherbrooke, Quebec, Canada. Based on current research, it seems uncertain whether that company still exists at all. In March 2012, the company was sold to Brian Melbourne and renamed Kolb Aircraft Company, LLC. That's the one we know now. I don't know much about Brian other than he has posted content on the Kolb Aircraft YouTube channel. The company is currently operated by Tom Cooper, Charles May, and a small crew of fabricators and assemblers. Now we'll get into the new website they have. Their old website left a lot to be desired, and they just came out with this new one, and they made some significant improvements. So rather than actually visit the website online and make you deal with a bunch of scrolling, I did a bunch of screenshots of the significant images, and I'll present them in slide form here. Scrolling down on the first page, you'll get the usual inspirational rah-rah type stuff, the finest flying experience. First introducing the current models in production, which are the Firefly, the Firestar, and the Twin Star Mark III. This is more of the same. Can everybody read that? And do you want me to leave it up there so you can read the whole blurb, or do you want me to read it out loud?
Yeah, read it.
Okay, I'll let you read while I take a drink of water.
So none of these is an ultralight.
The Firefly is, but more on that later. The Firestar can be built either way. In the air quick, yes. They do offer quick build kits. I'm going to probably save the money. They're a simple enough aircraft that I'll enjoy, and they do the tube welding, so. Oh, the flying memories we've made. I'm looking forward to making memories. I hope that can come to fruition and I can make flying memories flying a Kolb. Now we'll get into their introductions of the 3 aircraft. Basically what I did is copied the script and then selected another photo of each model to better fit this presentation. This is the Firefly, which is usually built as a legal ultralight. This was the photo of the Firefly. This is the Firestar. I'll let you read the blurb. They used to power it with Rotax, and now they're choosing the Hearth 3202 engine. This is another shot of the Ben Carey's Firestar 2. It's technically the Firestar 2, and I'm not sure why they don't make that distinction on the website. Maybe they've just kind of retired the 2 moniker. I don't know. But yeah, I've used this photo of Ben Carey's launching from his home field, captured by his brother Dan. Then there's the Twin Star Mark II, which is the side-by-side aircraft that can be used as an ultralight trainer. It's got a high gross weight. It's a good airplane. Here's one performing at the ultralight field at Oshkosh. Now the website also has an accessories page, but right now the only thing on it is this wing cart, which if I get mine finished, I'll definitely be buying one of these. It looks like a pretty good piece of kit. And now we get into the gallery photos. I recropped and retouched some of these because if I had done it on the website, you wouldn't be able to see the whole photo unless I scrolled. And by the way, I was officially granted permission by Kolb to use these photos in this presentation. So I'm not sure whether that's a Firestar or a Firefly. I think it's a Firefly. And there's the Mark III. And again, you can put floats on these. That boggles my mind. That looks like so much fun.
Do they sell the floats?
I don't think they sell them, but you can source them. I'm guessing there's a number of ultralight float manufacturers out there because other manufacturers have used them. And this is obviously a Mark III at Oshkosh. And this might be a photo from one of the annual Kolb gatherings they used to hold at the home field in Phoenixville. I'm not certain about that, but it looks like it. And we'll end the gallery with a beautiful sunset photo of a Kolb. Not sure what model, probably a Firefly. And this is the contact information, but I'm not going to stay on this. I'm going to give you an enhanced version at the end of this presentation if you want to copy down information. So from here we're going to get into my Firestar, the one I'm dreaming about. Why did I choose this design? Well, it's because I wanted this kind of flying experience. The RV-8 was a wonderful airplane and I'll miss it all my life, but I've always wanted to experience that feeling of flying in the front of an aircraft with the rest of the aircraft completely behind me, like a Breezy or a jet, you know. And there's a number of designs that have this layout, and based on my research, like the Kolb is kind of leading the field. There's some other really amazing ones, but like Kolb, they're also going through a transitional period and they're currently not selling aircraft, so that's what sold me on the Kolb. So I'm going to show some screenshots from Ben Carey's YouTube video. I highly recommend his channel. These videos really got me hooked. And some of you might know that I had the opportunity to purchase this very aircraft, but the problem is I didn't find out it was for sale until he had already sold it and it was trucked out to Washington State. So it just seemed too impractical to try to buy it, even though it was going for a great price. But it would have cost the cost of the aircraft to ship it back. But anyway, these are some shots, some screenshot I got from his video. The video was taken at Richmond Field down near Gregory, Michigan, very close to Ben's home field. Richmond Field is where he does the performance testing. This particular test session was after installing the Yamaha Phaser snowmobile engine with the custom gear reduction drive he designed and vortex generators on the wings. The resulting performance improvement was phenomenal on this aircraft. Kolb has acquired the remaining gear reduction drives from Ben Carey's, and they've started to collect Yamaha Phaser engines. They built a bespoke mount for it. And one of the neat things about that engine is because it's got a centrifugal clutch, when you bring the engine to idle when you're on the ground, the prop stops. I love the thought of that. I mean, it's such a great safety feature. If you ever had a prop strike, of course, how are you going to get a prop strike on a pusher engine? But, you know,
Flying upside down.
yeah. And that brings me to another point about the pusher engine. Somebody reminded me about downside to a pusher is anything that comes off the engine goes through the prop. So I'm going to be real meticulous on building everything forward to that prop. But yeah, this is him doing the pattern at that field, turning base to final.
Yeah, that looks like Hacklewood.
Isn't Yamaha getting out of the snowmobile business and those are getting hard?
Yeah, you know, I did speak to Ben Carey's on the phone. Yeah, he told, you know, he ran down the whole story of how he got that, and he gave me the range of years that I'd want to look for to try to find the engine. But yeah, it's hard to find a Yamaha phaser for sure. Now he's coming into land, and I just, I wanted to present these because I want that view. I want to look out. I want to have that kind of a view. I want to be flying in the nose. So hopefully, after I get this taken care of, I'll be able to do it. I can't really move forward on this project until I get my third-class medical certificate reinstated. I'm in the process of getting completely retested on all the parameters required, and I should know for sure by this March, whether or not I'll be able to fly a light sport experimental or whether I'll be relegated to Part 103 ultralight. In the meantime, as you may know, I've got the blueprints, and Kolb did have digital copies, but they weren't offering them for sale. They would only sell the paper blueprints and the instruction manual. So I bought the plans and then took them in, had them digitally copied, took the files home, cleaned them up, straightened them up, saved the entire plan set as a PDF file. And I took all the files I generated and shared them with Kolb with the understanding that I'm not selling these. If anybody asks me for plans, I send them to Kolb. And then what else have I got to do? I've got no parts to work on, so I do my usual Photoshop stuff. Created drawings based on elements of the 3-view blueprint page. This is showing the enclosed configuration, their winterized version of the Firestar. And I modified that drawing to make it look like the open cockpit version, which is actually the stock version of the airplane. And I did, mock-ups of it in flight pose at the flying angle. In doing additional research, I didn't quite get it right. I aimed for trying to get the horizontal stabilizer and the rudder hinge, horizontal and vertical. But it actually flies a little bit nose higher than this. But, what the heck, it's Photoshop, who cares? And there's the open version of the same drawing. And then I started playing with, okay, how's this going to fit in the hangar? I did the same thing with the RV-8. So I know how it fits. And you'll see in a later slide, this is actually a bigger airplane than the RV-8. It's got a much narrower fuselage, obviously, but the wingspan and the wing chord is larger. And then played with various artwork, projects. And then did this one, which is my favorite.
What's the background in this?
That's actually, I believe that was taken over Northern California.
And then brought it.
Yeah, I photoshopped it to make it look like a painting. I did the same thing with the RV-8. So I basically took the same background, cut the RV-8 out, and plugged this in. I'm actually kind of proud of that human because when I did the RV-8, it was easy. All I had was to do a head with a helmet. This, I was like, I got to get a body, and I'm no artist. I can't draw a body. So I took a screenshot of Ben flying his Kolb Firestar. I flipped it horizontally, and I sized it to fit in the drawing, and then I Photoshop painted over it to make it in green coveralls like I always wear, and make it like he's wearing a leather helmet, because he was just wearing headphones. Actually, I'm pretty proud of that. It came out pretty well. I even got the shading right. And then, when the aircraft is completed and flying, I'll have this hanging on my shop wall, hopefully along with an actual air-to-air photo, because I've got, in my shrine in the shop, I've got the RV-8 drawing that I did like that, plus I've got the actual air-to-air, and they're both portraits on the wall, so hopefully I'll be able to do that with the Kolb. And I also dabbled in merch. I was granted permission to work on generating merchandise for Kolb, so I came up with various shirt designs, both t-shirts and button-up polo shirts with pockets. I like pockets. I fooled around with various stickers and patches. Matter of fact, I've got files in the Graphic Wizard up in Clarkston. They should be able to give me an estimate on embroidered patches tomorrow, and silk screen shirts. And when I ran out of that stuff to do, I was at least able to print stickers, but trying to get the alignment right meant that I had a bunch of misprinted stickers. So what do you do with a bunch of misprinted stickers? You stick them onto a chunk of scrap cardboard and call it art. I call it sculpture. I recommend turning your mistakes into art whenever possible. And that's pretty much it for the presentation. But if you guys don't mind, I'd like to share the latest music video because it is vaguely Kolb related. So if I'm not shouted down, let's just go for it. Not supposed to be heavy, and I also channeled my inner alfalfa, so be warned.
I wrote this song shortly after selling my beloved falsifier back in October of 2023. I created videos about the sale, but I couldn't bring myself to record this song until now. As the days, weeks, and months went by, I found myself missing that airplane more and more. In the meantime, my third-class medical certificate expired, and I knew it would be a while before I could get it back. I felt as if I had been demoted in the aviation community. I was no longer a fully fledged flyer. I still had my hangar, but it was as empty as my soul. I realized I wasn't done with flying. I couldn't be. I came to the realization that I needed to fly again. I needed to be a pilot for the rest of my life. So I got to work. I took steps to regain my third-class medical certificate. I began to dream of building another airplane and began my approach to land at that goal. I did some research and bought the plans for what will hopefully become my next airplane. To keep the dream alive, I made drawings and illustrations of my dreams. I prepared my shop to accept another project, one which, when completed, will never be sold. It will take some time, but I am inching towards my goal and I am determined. I did it before and I can do it again. And now I think I'm finally ready to share the song that I've been hiding in my heart for so long. Plane free, I ran out of money. It's not very funny, I feel like I just sold my soul. Plane free, I might be done flying. I feel like I'm dying. I landed way short of my goal. I dreamed I'd fly across the country. I did have some fun, but now it seems all that is done. Plane free, no more solo dancing, no more home-built camping, no longer one of the elite. Free, I'm stuck on the ground now. I really don't know how I'll manage to stay on my feet. Plane free, my heart is down hollow. I've no dream to follow. There must be a new goal for me. save money. Slave free, that's me. Who cares? So there's the contact information.
Well, nice presentation.
Thank you. Once again, thank you for your patience and indulgence.
Very good.